Good evening. I see a lot of new faces out there. So who's only been here like this is their first meeting? Come on, I see over here, back there. So is this for school or something? Terry, you've been here every week. So you picked a good night to come down to a meeting, huh? It's a little bit different than you thought they would do. All in favor say aye. The motion carries. So what you're seeing at this meeting is just kind of a microcosm of what's happening in the country right now. There's a lot of division in the country. There's a lot of people that are very emotional and very upset with a lot of things that are happening in the country. And it goes down to the state level and it goes down to the city level, and it clearly is here in Costa Mesa. I think if anybody just saw the dichotomy of the people that would come to the microphone, it's just kind of all over the place. I mean, one side over there, they hate you, you're horrible, and you're supporting pedophiles. The other side saying, great job on the city. So obviously you can see that election time's coming, and it's a very political time of the year. The thing that I want to talk about, and I really like to kind of finish this conversation, and I don't know if I can or not, is what really did happen 4 years ago on August 22nd. That was the famous night when at Gary's restaurant, two private investigators, one was out in the parking lot, one was inside the restaurant, and a woman inside the restaurant were there to get dirt or create dirt on myself, Gary, and the mayor, Steve Mensinger. This is not an issue about dirty tricks. It has nothing to do with dirty tricks. Understand how this happened the way it is. The law firm that hired these private investigators, the law firm that hired them, was hired by our Police Officers Association, the police union. Do not mix up the police union with the department. They're two different things. The police union is basically the bargaining unit somebody talked about earlier that negotiates. I don't think anybody has a problem with the bargaining unit negotiating. I think we do have a problem when people that do not live in the city, that aren't residents in the city, raise hundreds of thousands of dollars to change who's on their city council. And why do they do that? Why does it matter to them who's on the city council? Because right now, we're like in the middle of negotiations with the fire department, the fire association, not the department, the association. Those are all the members. And so they know how this majority is going to vote right now. They know the issues that are important to us because we're going back and forth on issues. They clearly do not want this majority in the council. There's no doubt about it. They want somebody different. And so they're supporting somebody different. So as much as all the little tit for tat and signs are being stolen and all that, let's put some basic facts out there. The association, the fire association, has over $400,000 in their account. They moved $160,000 over to a campaign account, a political campaign account. Now, why would they do that? They want to find out who's going to be running the city. Now, they're going to come back, and what do they say? It's out of the playbook, by the way. The playbook's standard for all fire and police. Here's the playbook. You tell the public they're not safe, right? You've heard that tonight, right? You're not safe, and those guys don't care. That's the whole campaign. You can call it any way you want, say there's not enough officers, there's too much crime in the street, and nobody cares. Everybody up here cares. I mean, I've got 3 daughters and a wife at home. You think I don't care about safety? Steve's got a couple of kids. Katrina has kids. I mean, we are all up here, and we all care. We all have family in the community. We want it to be safe, both from the police department angle and from the fire for the paramedic rescue. We all want it to be safe. The issue is not about safe. The issue is about how much. How much does it cost us to operate and to do those type of things? The reason this hit a crescendo 4 years ago is this is the first time that I know of a city got 3 votes to stop it, to say we're not doing this anymore. This is crazy. So what's crazy? What's crazy is to have 19 of the 75, 76, whatever it is, firefighters in our city make between $275,000 and $324,000. Let me say it again, $275,000 to $324,000 total compensation. The problem you heard earlier with the police, kind of the same thing. You can retire at 50. Now some people go 52, 53, try to get their 30 years, but you can retire at 50. It always wasn't that way before. It used to be that when you were 50, you were kind of a captain and you moved up, and chiefs were up in their 50s, maybe early 60s. Now, because we retired 50, there's nobody left, and so there is a problem of keeping officers because they go on, they go other places. If you can get up to 90% of your pay, why would you come to work the next day, right? I mean, for 10 cents on the dollar, you're not going to come back to work the next day, so you're not going to do it. So let's back up again. So what happened, and why did we get what we got with this Lanzillo case and this person following us around? This wasn't a political stunt. It was political corruption. The police, the law firm represented over 130 police departments, their associations throughout California. 130. Those two private investigators didn't just like show up one day and follow me around or follow the mayor around or go up to Gary's place. They worked 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, 2 of them every day. They came in to their boss and said, well, who am I following today? And they followed, throughout the years, city council people every day, city managers every day, and it wasn't even for the political stunt, for the dirty hits, the kind of things you hear about. What it's really for is to find the dirt on you that they can extort you with, okay? So here's what extortion is. That picture doesn't look like your wife. Who's that? And so if a council person did make a mistake in their life, a bad mistake in their life, and they don't want to lose their family, it comes down to as simple as this. You get extorted to vote the way they want you to vote for their contract. That's what it's about. This isn't a little political game. This is the destruction of how we operate in a society. When police associations and fire associations and other groups can go out there and decide who's going to make their contract, they'll do anything they can. A police officer right now, when they retire, because of what they can retire at, we have to put away $2.8 million for every one of them. $2.8 million to pay for retirement. That's a number that doesn't work. It's falling apart. We've seen what our new numbers are getting to, and I think the LA Times did a big story on it a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to see a lot more of it. The pension system is crumbling in the state. It cannot go on this way, and that's all we've been saying. None of us have said that our firefighters and policemen and employees aren't great employees and good people. We hire the best. There's no doubt about it. The issue is when the associations kind of talk about getting out of hand, when they just say they want more and more and more. And you get to a certain point where you're saying, you're retiring at 90% of your pay at 50 years of age. I can't give you any more. What else do you want? There's nothing left. And that's kind of the situation that we got in. What I thought was interesting, but was during this whole case, you should just Google this. There's a 26-page affidavit the district attorney did with the grand jury to go ahead and indict Christopher Lanzillo and Scott Impola, the two private investigators. They're both, by the way, fired ex-police officers who this law firm hired to do their investigations. And what was interesting is that they were texting back to each other while this whole thing was coming down. While I'm in the restaurant and Gary's in the restaurant and I'm being followed, they're texting back and forth. And make a long story, try to make it shorter, Chris Lanzillo they figured out who he was. The press figured out within 24 hours after my house that he worked for this law firm and that the law firm was hired by the union. And I just got a kick out of it tonight because it's being repeated. So they texted, and their texting system was encrypted so that you didn't know what they were texting back and forth. So when they got the records, it was encrypted. Well, it wasn't encrypted real well because the district attorney broke the code. So live, while this is all happening, they're texting back and forth. And when Chris Lanzillo finds out he's busted, he texts to Dieter Danmar, the number 2 person at the firm, says, Dieter, I'm really sorry. I got busted. It's my fault. I should have never got caught. Something to that effect. He said, I just need 2 weeks' pay just to keep me on my feet. Just please pay me for the 2 weeks. And I'll go on, and you know what, and let me tell you, you just tell them that I went rogue and you had no idea what I was doing. And that's what the words in the paper said, that the Dieter said that he went rogue and they didn't know. And then a year later when they pull it up, that Dieter says exactly what he said. Just say, I went rogue. So the issues in the city are simple. Do you want the city to be run by the people that get their paycheck out of here, the people that are the employees, or do you want to be run by the citizens? It's as simple as that. And I'm not going to say who to vote for, who not to vote for, but it's pretty simple. When an organization goes out there and spends already $160,000 and they've got $240,000 more in their account to decide who's going to be the council person, you're going to see the mail that says you're not safe. They're wasting your money. They're buying ambulances and not using them. I mean, you're going to hear all the kind of stuff out there that you're going to hear. And that's just the way it's going to be. It's not going to be much different. But understand that we're talking about, tens of millions and quite frankly, hundreds of millions of dollars over time that's being spent, and so people are going to fight over those dollars. I've been on the council for 6 years now. I've got 2 more years to go, so whatever happens, I'll still be here. And whether I'm in the majority or the minority, I'm still going to work towards the things that I think that are important to the city to make sure that we take care of the things here. But this wasn't a little issue. That's why it's becoming national news again. This was not just a story about Costa Mesa. It was about how there could be so much power in police associations throughout California to take control of city councils. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. See you.